it seems as though we were talking about the joist hangers and how they're attaching those TJI floor joists. I'm gonna be the little inspector. I'm gonna kind of walk around. I'm gonna check a couple things because I noticed there was a couple things that they should do slightly different or added on. Now see how this TJI here, they've got a little wall that they built under it. You see right there, and they did that so that they could then make this the same height as the top plate, because this stem wall is concrete and then it dropped down. The reason why it dropped down and the reason why they made it up high like that is because this is all fill dirt in here. Look how high it is. I'm up above the other ground that was here 10 feet or so, and they filled all this in with the Bobcat the other day. Okay, and so when they built the stem walls, the concrete stem walls, they had all of this area up higher. And so when they attach these TJIs, instead of running it on top of the top plate, see, like this over here, see how this is over here? The stem wall goes down a little lower here. I'll show you over. Well, it's hard to here. We'll show you right here. See, here's the concrete, and then they put the belly band on top of the pressure treated mud seal, and then this is on top of that, and then your TJIs go to that, and then they nail that in. And son of a gun, look at that. The first one I look at has not been nailed. They forgot to nail that right there, didn't they? And see how it's separating there? It doesn't really matter there as much as that. They should have nailed that, because all these other ones are nailed. See, they nailed down at the bottom, and they should have nailed at the top. Well, they missed that one, didn't they? These should all be tight. And what I was going to point out to you over here is where they did the ones on this wall. See how this concrete stem wall, the mud seal's here, but there's no TJIs on top of that. The plywood is actually going to go straight across, and they have to drill the plywood around all of these bolts, all the washers and the nuts. What a pain that's going to be, because they stepped it up. And where they stepped it up, see, this whole area has been stepped up. You see what I mean? They framed that wall underneath, so you can see where that wall is. And before they built that wall, they had to put black tar paper up against the concrete stem wall, because your Douglas fir material cannot touch the mud seal or the concrete. You see what I mean? All through there. And so they didn't have anything to nail at the top, did they? They've nailed each one of these. They've nailed each one of these TJIs down at the bottom, and to keep the top from flopping around, they put blocks. There's a block, everywhere a block. You see what I mean? That block is there to hold these in place. Boom, 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 boom. And when you come down here, look at that. They missed these blocks. They missed this block, this block, this block. You see how this is just flopping around in the breeze. They've got a block here, but see, on this one here, they've got this block because that's built up, but they should have put another block in between here to keep this from flopping around. You see what I mean? You come back here on this end, they did the same thing, didn't they? They should put another block like this. See, this is just a block of TJI material, see? And they should have put one right here to keep this from flopping around, see? See there? You shouldn't have that. You shouldn't have that. That'll be fine after they put the plywood down. If somebody stepped on that right now, this thing could tilt over and you could fall. Accident could happen, will happen, if you're not paying attention out on a job site, for sure, right? And So anyways, that was something I noticed. And the inspector may make him put a block there, make him put a block there, one there, one there, one there, one there. See, all these have blocks, right? Now let's go over here and see. Let's see how they did over here. So they got a block. They got a little Mickey Mouse block there to keep that from going. They don't have a block here, and that's probably okay because there's nothing over there. If they did put a block, they could have just cut something in here nice and tight and wedged it in there, right? This one here, they should have had a block over there. You see? See how that's loose too? Right there. And maybe this block was over there, and they moved it when they put this other gas line pipe in or something. In any case, this could have a block, or at least a 2x4 on edge, or flat, 3.5 inches by 1.5 inches that way. If they don't want to use the TJI material, they could do that, right? And over here, see, they got this. They've got a block there. That's good. I mean, it's slightly loose, but it's not going anywhere. It's not really holding anything. So that's okay. And then you come over here. You see this one here, just flopping in the breeze. They should have put a block here and one there, just like they did on all those. So there's a few more things that I've noticed that they could have done slightly different. Are they going to leave it? And see, if they leave it, and if the inspector calls them on them, the inspector's not going to stand here and wait for him to do all that while he's here before he signs off. Now, if the building contractor knows him and says, and he has guys out here and says, okay, hey, go ahead and sign. Can you please sign it off, Mr. Inspector, so that we can start our next phase, putting in the insulation and all that kind of stuff. And can you look at it if the inspector wants to look at the insulation before he puts the plywood in, and you can come back and then you can see that the blocks are in there. Or if the inspector doesn't want to come back, he may not come back to look at the insulation. He may say, go ahead and put the insulation, you know, after he inspects all these floor joists, and he may say, I'll crawl underneath the floor in a couple different places and check and make sure that you got your insulation. Seems as though he may have to crawl around in here in some periodic spots to look for the plumbing that still needed to be hooked up in certain areas underneath the floor and all that kind of stuff. And if you know the inspector, and if the inspector knows you're a good guy and you're an honest guy, he may say, yeah, go ahead and put those blocks in. I trust you. I'm going to go ahead and sign it off. Well, if you say you're going to do something, by golly, you better make sure you get it done. In case the inspector ever finds out that you didn't do something that you told him you were going to do, he's not going to trust you, and it's going to be harder to work with him in the future on different things such as that. Do you see what I mean? Okay, and so anyways, there's a few things for you to consider when you're forming out your TJI floor joists. Hey, remember I told you from time to time I would talk about other things other than the actual framing and stuff on the house, and I said there was 3 things I wanted to talk about, and I could only remember 2. You remember? I said one was fire sprinkler issues, one was a handicap issue, and I couldn't remember what the last one was, and I got home and I'm thinking about it, and it hit me. I know what it is. HOA details and certain aspects that could come up. And so I'm just going to take this time right now to talk about HOA. What is HOA, by the way? That's Homeowners Association. HOA, Homeowners Association. Not all houses are in Homeowners Association, but if yours is, or if you don't even know, make sure you check it out and find out, hey, am I in a Homeowners Association? Because you know what? I'll bet you this house right here is in a Homeowners Association. We're in a Homeowners Association, and there's certain things you can do, certain things you can't do. Certain colors you can paint the house, certain colors you can't paint the house. Certain trees you can put in, certain trees you can't put in. Certain garage doors you can put in, certain garage doors you can't put in. So they have a list of everything that you need to know. And so when you get ready to build your house, if you find out you're in an HOA, or check it out, and find out one way or another. If you're in an HOA, go to their office. They'll give you a sheet. They'll give you a handout for new homeowners build, contractors build on the house. They'll give you a whole list of stuff, and then you can look at that, see how it pertains to you. Because I'll tell you, if you don't do that, you could get messed up, because maybe you design the roof in such a way to where the homeowners association says, hey, I don't like how your roof goes. Some people nowadays in certain areas, they want a roof that just goes up like that. You know, in certain places, well, in this area, you can't do that if all the other houses in the homeowners association doesn't have that type of, if they don't have that type of roof, you can't do that. I know another house that was built fairly close to us. They wanted to install certain things on the outside, like stucco finish. They wanted some siding on the side, and they nixed the siding on the front, and they made them put cultured brick, fake brick, on the outside. They gave them 2 or 3 different things that they could pick from, and that's what they ended up picking. Now, the architect, he didn't have that on there. They had to change the roof line. They had to change something on the garage door. I think they might have had to have changed. And so think about all that kind of stuff, because that could change certain things, the certain color. You'd hate to build something and then find out, you know, now you have a homeowners association problem. You get your neighbors complaining about this, that, or the other thing. Hey, how come he got to do that? We couldn't do that on our house. And then I don't know what would happen. Or you painted it a certain color, and then somebody complained about it, and now you had to repaint your whole house exterior because you didn't follow their directions. So that's one thing I wanted to point out on homeowners associations, okay? Very, very important. Well, that's all I got for this time, but I'll be back with more videos.